I think there are a lot of people in Washington and across the country who agree it's an elegant idea. It was developed by Peter Barnes, the entrepreneur in California. Elegant, almost certainly will work. You know, as you say, penalizes bad behavior, rewards good behavior. But Congress never does, you know, always, you yourself have said, you know, it's unclear whether sensible policy and Congress go together. Why would this now work when they've already tried this cap and trade complex approach? Why switch? Why would Congress want to switch to this?
Well, we've taken the cap and trade approach, which was sort of the environmental approach to pretending we're Lyndon Johnson. We're trading and giving all sorts of political horse trading. And it hasn't worked. In fact, not only has it not worked, it's becoming a laughingstock. Senator Kerry is in a bit of trouble for having his own name on this kind of cap and trade approach. The House members, many of whom are Democrats, some of whom have tricky races coming up. Some of them are starting to wish they had never voted for the piece of cap and trade legislation that passed in the House of Representatives. So we've got to try a different approach. Most things seem like a long shot.
But even some of the environmental
today.
groups don't. I mean, many of the environmental groups still support cap and trade and see
true.
cap and dividend as cap and divide. Why can't even some of the leading environmental groups see the clarity of this bill if it has so much appeal?
I think some are coming around, and some may have the same problem with it that some of the industry groups do. They got hooked on the amount that the legislators were going to take the revenue from these auctioned permits. And suddenly, dollar signs got in their eyes about where they were going to spend this. You're going to use this on wildlife refuges. You're going to use this on buying off the coal industry. You're going to use this to bring on another senator here and another House member there. Instead, we're saying, that's not working. Wipe the slate clean.
So environmental groups are just another special interest.
Not just another special interest, but to some degree they began to play the special interest game. And the special interest game has ceased to work. So let's wipe that slate clean and let's start off with a bill that's absolutely fair and transparent. Let's not assume that our republic is so corrupt that unless we buy off the utilities, we can't get anywhere. I don't believe I live in that country. I believe I live in a country where Americans still have a voice. And I don't think the utilities have an equal voice with me. I'm the citizen. They're a corporate entity. Their people can vote, but they're people, not their corpus.
Well, there are many who have said that the Massachusetts vote, Scott Brown winning a Republican in Massachusetts, sent the message that it really is the economy stupid. Americans really are concerned about jobs first. They'd like to solve global warming, but they'd also like their incomes to go up. This is one of the principal reasons that Republican Susan Collins supported the bill, is it not?
That's right. This is the only approach we've seen so far to global warming that's absolutely revenue neutral, and it helps individual Americans compensate them for these higher energy costs. And we need the higher energy costs, and that'll drive changes and a new economy.
So their dividends would be larger than their monthly increase in energy bills under the cap. But there is that 20%. The wealthiest Americans will lose out. So 80% of Americans either break even under this plan or their incomes rise. Is it going to just be called a tax on the rich then?
I don't think it's a tax on the rich. The wealthy, the analysis is that the wealthy will come out behind in this because they're driving big, heavy SUVs, they're heating and cooling very large homes. They can change those ways as well, or they can pay for that luxury. So in some ways, they don't need to be compensated for enjoying those larger luxuries. The middle class, working class, the poor, they come out ahead in this legislation, and that's an important thing in this economy.
So crystal ball for us, 2010, we all, there were many who said 2009 had to be the year. Obama, his first year, he's most powerful. He had a dream team of energy advisors. We were going to pass something in the summer leading up to the international treaty talks in Copenhagen. That all didn't happen. Copenhagen ended without a binding treaty. Now we're in 2010, an election year. Do you really see, if cap and trade is dead, the trading part, the capping and trading, do you see cap and dividend actually becoming law this year, or are we talking about a 2 or 3 year fight for this, what you think is a more sensible policy?
I really can't know. Here's all I know. whether it could become law this year or next year. I know it could become law. I know it makes sense. I know that it actually fits to the campaign promises that candidate Obama made. He said he wanted a fair, just, transparent bill that compensated Americans. The bill that the White House has so far supported, that is the bill that passed in the House, is not Obama's bill. He brought in various environmentalists, and they went back and they did sort of a redo of the Clinton administration climate approach, which failed then. I don't know why he let them recycle this. I think he's not been paying attention to it. I'll grant him he's been awfully busy, and it's been a tough first year, but I believe if we can get him to pay attention to this bill, the CLEAR Act by Senators Cantwell and Collins, could give President Obama a big victory and do things the right way and the way he actually promised to do them.
Well, a big thanks to John Passacantando. If climate change policy really does become a pro-pocketbook issue for Congress and for hurting families, then 2010 really could finally be the year of solutions in Washington. I'm Mike Tidwell, and this has been 21st Century Life.